Hello, my beautiful community. Happy Friday. I know you might not be doing this on a Friday, but it's Friday in my life right now, and it's a gorgeous spring day. And I decided let's sequence and theme our flow today around animals. So we're going to do all poses named after animals. Now, there are lots of them. There are tons of poses named after animals, so we'll just be doing a very small fraction of them, and I may revisit this theme to visit some of the others because there are lots and lots of yoga poses named after animals. And the reason for that is because they were trying to embody and take on the different energy of these different animals. So think of that as we honor the many, many beings that we share this planet with through our sequence today. And we're going to start off in puppy dog pose. And puppy dog pose looks a lot like child's pose, but it's a bit different. So instead of keeping your knees apart, you're going to keep your knees together, tuck your feet if you want, or not. But you're going to stick your butt up and melt your heart down like a little puppy dog getting ready to play. My dog does this all the time. This is her little play stance, even though she's an 8-year-old dog now. She does this. So get ready to play like a little doggy. Melt your heart down. It should feel like a similar shoulder and upper back stretch to child's pose. Keep breathing. Good. Slowly come up. So you know we got to do our cat-cow stretches. Nice active hands. I want your fingers spread. I want your elbows pointed towards you. Active hands. Imagine you're trying to screw off a little jar lid with your fingertips and your palms. Suction cup your palms into the earth. Inhale. Curve your spine up like a cat stretching in the morning. Exhale out into cow. We'll take 6 of these. Keep flowing with it. Go at your own pace. Good. One more. So good. Find yourself in neutral. So we're going to add a lion's breath to this, because it's named after an animal, because it's good for our immunity and our stress level. So inhale, curve up into your cat pose. As you exhale, drop your tongue, look up, audible exhale out, like a lion's roar. Good. 2 more. Beautiful. Let me hear you, even from over here. So good. All right. Spread your fingers. Tuck your toes. Find your plank. You can even come onto your knees for this. We'll just stay here for a breath or two. And then we're going to raise our hips up and come into a down dog. I see my dog do this all the time too. Melt your heart down. Good. Find yourself back in a plank. Lower down however you want and come up for an up dog. Breathe. Tuck those toes, raise those hips. One more, down dog. Walk your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Remember, shoulders away from ears, long neck. Think of a giraffe. Exhale down. Inhale, send it up. Bring your hands to that beautiful beating heart. Hands in prayer. Find something you would like to honor with your work today, with your energy. Perhaps there's an animal in your life you would like to dedicate your practice to, or just all life out there. We're going to take a elephant stance. So take your feet nice and wide apart. Keep your hands in prayer at your heart. And squat on down, kind of like in a goddess squat, but the difference really is our arms. We're keeping our arms in prayer for this elephant stance. You may come up onto your tippy toes if you want the extra balance challenge. Keep breathing. Slowly come up. Beautiful. Heel toe your feet together. For our balance, we'll do an eagle pose. You can use a block if you have one and if you want to. But you don't have to, and if you don't have one, that's fine. But if you're going to use a block, take it to the outside. I will be mirroring you of your right foot. Spread your toes. Root into the earth. So imagine that you're growing roots into the earth. Find the 4 corners of your feet. Find your balance. Use a wall if you need it for balance. Bend that leg. Take your left leg over. And then right over left with your arms, come into eagle arms. If this is not accessible to you, just hug yourself. It's all good. If you don't need the block, get rid of it, do the full wrap. Remember, find your drishti, find something to look at that's not moving. Keep breathing. Slowly come out. Stand in Tadasana. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Again, you may use the block if you want it on your left foot. Bend that leg. You can also use a wall and put yourself to a wall if you need it for balance. Find something to look at that's not moving. Bend that leg. Take your right leg around. And then left over right for your eagle arms. Again, you can just hug yourself. Breathing. Come on out. Stand Tadasana. However you did just now, it's all good. It's all beautiful, okay? Remember, this is about how you're making yourself feel. It's not about what you look like. So let go of whatever that brought up for you and come down to a seat. We'll do some bees breath. Honor the bees. So remember, this is a buzzing sound through your nose, like the sound of a bumblebee. We'll start off nice and low in your chest, boys. Take a deep inhale. One more. Inhale. Look up. Take a moment. Now middle range through your throat. Inhale. One more. Two more, I'm sorry. Last one. Okay, gaze up, this time nice and high like a bumblebee on helium. I want it resonating through your temples. Inhale. Last one. Nice. We're going to come into a cow face pose. So cow face, typical if your hips are flexible enough. True cow face pose means one knee kind of on top of the other. If this is not accessible to you, then just cross your legs however you can. You do not have to come into full cow face. But the idea here is that your feet are the ears, I think, and this is the nose, something silly like that. So take opposite arm on top. I didn't cue which leg to place on top, but I have my right leg on top, so I'm going to take my left arm. And you can come back into the eagle arms if you want. If you would prefer this kind of a shoulder stretch, then you can simply take your arm behind you and come into a tricep stretch like that. Whatever's going to feel like a better shoulder stretch to you to match the hip stretch we're getting here. And I'm going to come into eagle arms, and you can take the other kind. You can stay here, or if it would be calming and soothing, then inhale. And as you exhale, take a forward fold. Slowly come up. We took that option, shake it out. We're coming on to the other side. You can simply switch legs, or once again, if you want to try a little party trick with me, take your arms around, do a sweet little loop-de-loop, a little break dance. Voila! Opposite arm on top. You can come into your eagle arms, or again, you can just come into a tricep stretch. Whatever's going to work in your body, whatever would feel like a better shoulder stretch to you right now. You can take a deep inhale, and if you want to, you can forward fold. Slowly come out of that, shake that out. Beautiful. Let that go. We're going to come into a camel stretch, a little back bend to counter that forward fold. So take your hands to your lower back. Remember, step one is just lift the heart and sacrum. Do not crunch the lower back. Support your back. Lift up and just look up. Drop your head. If this is easy for you, then tuck your toes and grab for one heel, and then maybe try playing with the other heel. If you totally got this, try for both heels and lift forward. on down in your own time when you're ready. Don't be on my schedule. Take a minute to settle any dizziness. And we're going to come from here into a dolphin pose. So dolphin is a lot like down dog. But instead of using your wrists, instead of coming onto your hands, you're going to come onto your forearms. So you're going to lift up, lift your hips just like a down dog, but you're now in dolphin. So your forearms are on the ground. Keep breathing. And then slowly lower down briefly into a sphinx pose and melt your head down onto your hands into a little alligator. Shake out your hips. Take your hands to your shoulders, lift on up like you're coming into a little cobra pose, like a little snake curling up out of the ground. Make sure you're still breathing, no holding your breath. Remember, you never have to do anything I say, but you must breathe. Good. Snakes do not hold their breath when they do this. Good. Come on down, take your head to your hands, shake out your hips. We're coming from here into swan, so I want you to lift your arms and legs up. Lift, 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 breathe. And take your head to your hands, shake out your hips. Beautiful. Come on up just for a moment. We're going to come into lizard pose. Lizard pose is nobody's favorite, but it's a really good, healthy hip stretch. So you're going to take your right foot forward. And you can just stay up here. You can use a block or any kind of tool you have to lift up. You can even take your hands to your thigh. If you're flexible enough in your hips, try coming down a little bit lower. You can even come down onto your forearms if this is accessible to you. Now, this is nobody's favorite. I often like to call this the pose that makes everyone hate their teacher. But just breathe through it, okay? This is a really important hip stretch. We hold so much there in terms of tension. So keep breathing. When you're totally over that, then walk that foot across, and we're coming into pigeon. So, pigeon means you're laying your shin across the mat. And a lot of teachers like to teach that you're trying to take your shin as parallel to the mat as you can to get a good hip stretch. I'm not up that science. I think let the leg bend as much as you need, as long as your hips are actually level to the ground up here. So if you need to place a blanket or a piece of cloth or a block under that opposite hip to help make sure that it's level, I'd much rather see you do that and bend this leg as much as you need. See, mine is nice and bent, and that's fine. Give yourself the heart opening and then fold forward into your pigeon stretch. It should be a nice calming pose as well as a very deep hip opening. There should be a lot of intense sensation, but the forward fold adds a calming sensation to your nervous system. For anybody who wants to try it, you may lift up and grab for that back foot, coming into a little stretch. You can do it with this hand or the opposite hand, coming into your twist. If you're a super advanced yogi here and you want to try taking into your forearm and coming into mermaid, go for it. Calm down when you want. Good. Take your own favorite little post-pigeon ritual. We all have one. Just shake it out or come into a down dog. Whatever's going to kind of shake out the ghosts of that. And when you're ready, we're coming into lizard on the other side. So take your left leg forward, and again, you can just come up onto a seated position. You can use a block. You can use a tool. If you're flexible enough in your hips, come on down as low as you can. Believe it or not, this is one of these poses that you learn to love over time, because there's really no other way to stretch out the inner thigh in just this manner. So when you're totally over it, walk that foot across. We're getting ready for pigeon. So you're going to take your shin. So again, I don't care how parallel a shin is to the mat. Bend it as much as you need. I want your hips parallel to the floor though, so I don't want your hips going in either direction. So use something to support that opposite hip if you need. You can just roll up a towel, anything. Open that heart up. Don't forget the heart opener, and then fold forward. may stay here, or if you want, you can come in and try and get a quad stretch, stretch that back leg. You could do it as a twist with the opposite hand. Or if you want to try coming in the full mermaid and take that foot in the crook of your arm and take your arm behind you. Come on down when you're ready. Do your own favorite little post-pigeon ritual. So as if we had not stretched out our hips and quads enough, we're going to come into frog pose. So I would recommend take a moment, you can pause the video, to put a blanket or a towel or something to support your knees, because this can be a bit intense on your knees. You're going to make little frog legs, so you're going to flex your feet, and when you're ready, you're just going to come down as much as you can. This is an incredibly intense inner thigh stretch, and almost nobody can do this without feeling an enormous amount of intensity. So be gentle with yourself and just come down as far as you need to. If you need to just come up high, that's fine. Just take it as much as you can. We'll only be here for 6 breaths, but I want you to find some ease inside the effort here. All right. And when you can stand it no longer, come on out. Lay down on your back, shake it out. You guys did great. Beautiful. We'll end with one more heart opening and back bend. So shake out your legs, just release that, all that inner thigh stretch, release the ghosts, release whatever frustration came up for you. We hold a lot of emotion in our thighs. It's normal for things to come up, but now's the time to just release it. So take your hands under your hips. We're coming into fish pose. I want your elbows underneath you. Come up onto your elbows, open your heart up, drop your neck. Nice active fish pose. If you have a block or a pillow and you want to take it underneath your shoulders and take a more restorative version of this, you're more than welcome. Keep breathing. Good. Slowly come on down and relax. So we're going to end with something I did in my kids video, and my friend and teacher Gary taught me this. So Gary, if you're out there, this is for you. We're going to end with a little dying bug pose. So lift your arms and legs, and on the count of 3 I want you to shake them as much as you can and just let it all go. Scream. 1, 2, 3. Ah! And Shavasana. Lay quiet. Be still and breathe. Stay here as long as you like. Allow your thoughts to calm down. Ready to take this piece with you. Slowly start to experiment with wiggling your fingers and toes and waking up your nervous system. Stretch behind you, give yourself a lovely, beautiful, good morning stretch. Roll over onto your right side into a very sweet little fetal position. Take a moment to embrace this really beautiful, nurturing position that you once started life in, when you had no illusions that you were separate from any other life forms. You were completely one with all life on this planet. When you're ready, slowly seat yourself up, nice and gently and easy. Take your hands to your heart. Recall your intention that you said at the beginning of practice. And right now, send a little love, perhaps to some very special animal in your life, a pet, or one you have a relationship with, maybe a wild animal that you've seen multiple times. I have some birds on my porch right now. And you could also just send love to all life everywhere. Thank you for sharing this special moment with me. May you be well, may I be well, may all beings everywhere be well, with infinite love and gratitude. Namaste.